Well, we welcome you to Blues Pregame Live. I'm Darren Pang alongside the one and only, the great, the legendary Kelly Chase. How are you, big boy?
We are live.
We're live right
I've
now.
heard it three times.
Right?
Yes.
It's called the Blues Pregame Live.
Pregame Live, set up by the great Trevor Nickerson.
That's right.
But he's dressed sharp and he's being professional.
Exactly
today.
right. But what we do, Chaser, is we're supposed to bring it to the people. People are out there and they're looking for Blues information. And that's what we do.
We provide it.
Because behind us, that's Tampa Bay skating. Blues are going to have an optional skate. That's all the latest news right there.
Up to date.
And so there we have it.
Nobody can. Luke Korak couldn't have broke that.
Well, there you go, big boy. So we got a recall situation for the Blues. Tage Thompson is going to go down to San Antonio. He is there. I like what Mike Yeo said about that. I mean, here's a kid that they're not developing Tage Thompson to be a third or a fourth line mucker and grinder. He's going to be a top six player. And if you're not getting top six minutes here, then go down and learn the game there, because this is a tough league to learn the game and on the fly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a hard league to learn how to play in if you're not equipped and ready. And he's a 19-year-old kid that has a huge upside, but he needs to play minutes. And you don't want to be chasing the game at that age. You want to be involved in the game. And I think he was doing a little of that. And on the flip side, you get a young man to come up that probably deserved to stay at the end of camp.
Sammy Blais, huh?
Sammy Blais, in my opinion, was the best of the bunch, most prepared for the NHL. I also understand why they kept Tage up here and give him those opportunities and give him a little bit of, let his lips get wet a little bit in this league, and then go down and say, okay, well, guess what? Now you know what the goal is and where you want to be, and he'll strive to be better on it. Now, Sammy, on the other hand, he went down and he was a complete professional. He was one of their best players in the games that they've had in the minors. So you can see that. He didn't go down and sulk and pout, which some guys have been known to do. He went down there and worked and said, I'm going to be a professional and I'm going to be back here. And I know that Craig Berube had a talk with him and said, don't get yourself out of shape and don't get yourself a place to live, because you're going to be back here soon. And he was in a hotel, and here he is.
Well, that's really good stuff. So we're looking forward to seeing number 64. It was one time Samuel Blaise, but it is Sammy Blais.
Samuel Ball.
There you go. Good French-Canadian kid. This is a special day and week and moment here in Tampa Bay history.
Right.
As we know, when Tampa Bay started, because you had probably a few scraps with some of those guys way back when, but we've got a night tonight where they're honoring the original group. And in doing so, before we get to our next guest here on Blues Pregame Live,
it's loaded with St. Louis ties.
It's loaded. Okay, let's go through the list of guys that played for the St. Louis Blues and played in the original. Okay, let's go number one. Let's go Adam Creighton.
Adam Creighton?
Creighton is going to be here.
Terry Crisp, the coach.
There you go. Let's go number one, Terry Crisp, an original St. Louis Blue.
Original St. Louis Blue.
Okay.
Rob Ramage. Basil McRae.
Good one.
Pat Jablonski, drafted by the Blues.
Yes.
Drafted and taken in the expansion draft as well.
Robbie DeMaio.
Who's
now in the upper management with Doug Armstrong. He does a great job finding those pro players.
And I think that might be the.
You said Basil, right?
I said Basil, Ramage, Creighton, Crisp.
Yeah.
We got the full Monty going there. So that's a great group of guys that have St. Louis ties, and it's a special night, because the only reason that we left one guy off.
Yeah.
Is because I'm sure that he's going to come in and help us out and talk a little bit about the special memories. And so, inviting in on the set,
hey guys,
Mr. John Kelly.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here, and we had a dinner last night. The team was so gracious to host everybody from the original team, including the staff and the broadcasters, and to see some of those great faces and friends of ours. It was a special night, and it's going to be a special night tonight.
What do you remember about the first year and the first game that they played here in Tampa?
Well, the first game was at a place called Expo Hall, tiny little arena on the Florida State Fairgrounds. Chris Kontos scored 4 goals. They beat Chicago 7-4. I mean, 4 goals in his first game. So it was a memorable night. And then their first road win, ironically enough, was in St. Louis at the old arena against the Blues.
Yep.
And I think Jabber told me yesterday they won 2-1, and Hully scored with 15 seconds left to break a shutout. So that was a great night as well for them.
Well, I know that talking to Pat, excited about having everybody here, and I think there's only 2 guys, if I'm not mistaken, that are going to be making it back for this.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable that All but a couple have made it back, and as you said, Terry Crisp, an original Blue, and the coach, and they were a pretty good expansion team. They were over 500 around Thanksgiving, and then they had some injuries, and then later in the year they traded some players like Ramage and DeMaio to get draft picks, but they were a very respectable expansion club in 92, 93.
What was it like the first few calls when Contos scored, the energy that you guys must have had? Because I would have to assume that the expectations, weren't that high, and then you get off to a start almost like Las Vegas, or Vegas did this year.
Yeah, very similar. The difference is, number one, you have a guy that scores 4 goals in one game. And number two, you're beating Ed Belfour and the Chicago Blackhawks. Right. And Mike Keenan's in the building. I think he was a GM at the time. So you're beating an original 6 team, and it was a remarkable night. I remember to this day. Again, a very small arena. It was packed and very loud.
And your wife Jen is here as well. You had a good time with everybody. Was Danny Gare your first partner?
Danny Gare, the former 50-goal scorer.
Right. Correct.
Yep. Former captain of Detroit before Steve Yzerman got to see. He was a heck of a player, and he was my first partner in Tampa Bay. He's here as well.
When you get an opportunity to see all the guys like this and you start going through the memories, put in perspective just how fast this time flies and the great things that you've been able to do here and see in the NHL.
Yeah, Kelly, as you know, you've been around about as long as I have, since the late 80s. It really does seem like yesterday when they convinced me to come down here and be the first ever broadcaster. And actually, Danny Gare sort of sold me on it. He said, Dad, or John, your dad was a visionary. He went to an expansion team, and maybe you should as well.
Wow.
And, I took that to heart. And so, I took a bit of a chance and came down here, and it worked out well. And then I moved on to Colorado and back to St. Louis. But to be the broadcaster for the inaugural team was a great thrill.
How much fun was it having Espo around? The legendary Phil Esposito, which it's nice to see Jeff Vinik is now the current owner, and boy, does he do a fantastic job here with Tampa Bay. But even outside in the Plaza area, while fans are kind of waiting to get in the building, there's a great statue of Espo in a suit leaning up on his stick, and the stories that you guys must have been told and heard when he got this franchise.
He's obviously a legend in the game and is still part of this franchise, but it's amazing that he was able to convince Japanese ownership to buy a hockey team. He jokes that he went over to Japan and said hockey, and they thought he said sake. But he said, no, hockey team. And but he did a great job, and they came in with Ottawa in 92. And, at times it was tough, I'm not going to lie. But the ownership stuck with it, and then they sold a few years ago. And as you said, now Mr. Vinik is the owner. But it's been a great franchise. They won the Cup in 04, but I think it was all, the seeds were sowed back in 92 with Phil and his brother Tony. Yep. You know Tony very well, the former Blackhawk goaltender. So it certainly was a special time here.
Well, John, enjoy the evening, big boy. We look forward to seeing you on the pregame festivities.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, way to go, bud.
All right.
Great stuff.
All right, boys.
Okay. That's going to be fun, huh?
I want to sit with Phil and hear some of the stories. And actually,
God.
we're going to run into him in a few minutes here, so it'll be fun.
Oh, good. We are?
Yeah, that's what's going on.
With Espo?
Espo's coming down. I talked to him. Let's talk a little bit about this right now.
Tonight, the Blues are going to be wearing the blue.
The Blues are going to be wearing the color they should wear on the road.
On the road, yes. As we know, the old days, it was the white sweaters on home ice. They've since made that change.
I love the new sweaters. The letters, the numbers stand out.
Yeah, very much so.
Petro. So the boys will be in a different color tonight on the road, and hopefully turning this road trip into a 3-in-1 trip, which would be spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Mike Yeo gets his 200th win. Maybe Paul Stastny gets his 600th point. So, and maybe, Sammy Blake and maybe bang one home. Last year we saw Wade Megan play his very first NHL game right here in Tampa Bay, and he scored a goal. We saw Vince Dunn score his first NHL goal. I know it was in a losing cause, but still a special moment. I thought he played his best game by far against the Panthers.
And the fact that he's starting to just play hockey and take off, that's what I think is fantastic. So looking forward to it tonight, buddy.
We had fun yesterday, huh?
Oh, my
We're in Florida. Listen, we'll give you the update because we have to give you the update because it was an off day. We played a little golf.
It happens.
Played a little golf with the legendary Steve Shutt. 60-goal scorer. Man.
I love his passion. I love the story. The best part of the whole night, the day, I guess, was the stories after just sitting having lunch and talking to him. And you could see how emotional and passionate he is about the game and about the career and about players. We were talking about Bobby Hull and Gordie Howe and how much he loved and adored Bobby Hull. To me, I love hearing that from the great players because they're geniuses around the game, but they also have a tremendous appreciation for the respect of it. And that, to me, being with Brian and Steve yesterday was awesome.
Yeah, Brian Engblom, of course, 3 Stanley Cups with Montreal, and he's the broadcaster for Tampa Bay. And Steve Shutt, 5 Stanley Cups, so that's 8. So we had, between all 4 of us, we had
8.
Maybe someday, big boy. Maybe someday. Anyway, that is Blues Pregame Live. And for Kelly Chase right here in Tampa Bay, I'm Darren Robert Pang. Have a great day.